So, like, prior to all of this coronavirus mess, you were actually working on a cookbook and a children's book. What were those books about, and what's sort of the plan B now that all of this is going on?
Right now it's still a work in progress. So the good thing, if the one of the pros of the silver lining of this whole situation is I've still been able to recipe test, have people recipe test for me. I'm like, do you want to try to do this for me? If they have the time and they have to feed, their family for the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's still in progress, and it was going to still be in progress with or without this situation. I'll never know, but it's still working. I'm still going to be probably self-publishing it, both books really. But at the same time, the cookbook was going to be just almost in a way, it was going to be a gift for all my students and families who have wanted everything written out, wanted everything together, but also just something to have, because I don't know if your parents were like this, but I know a lot of us had parents who didn't write things down,
Mm-hmm.
didn't really put things together for us. It was just like, I don't know, like this is just how you do it.
Yeah, that's just the way that it is. You have to memorize it, and then the recipe changes. And
I mean, my grandmother was supposedly a wonderful cook, but
oh,
I didn't know any of that because no one wrote anything down. And
yeah.
it was one of those things that I was just kind of like, this is not just for them. This is for anyone who has ever asked on how to make something. The complaint is always that, they don't have enough time, they don't have enough this, they don't have enough that. And I totally understand that. But I was like, let this be something that can be your joy of the day, and
Mm-hmm.
something that you can ultimately give as a gift to somebody else, or to yourself. And so that was the cookbook that I was trying to write. And, I'm not a superstar, not yet, but, but it's been hard to convince people to take me on, because they often ask what my angle is, and I'm just kind of like, or what's my hook, what's my this, and that's
Mm-hmm.
really, it's an industry thing, right? We all
Yeah,
got up.
yeah.
And at the same time, I'm like, me, that's who it is. And, I'm the person who's making all of this. And so who
Mm-hmm.
knows? Lightning might strike one day. I just got to keep doing my thing. And until then, it's just, you feel this as an artist, this, you're like, it's just something that's got to come, because
Yeah.
whether with or without someone's permission. And so there's that. And I've always wanted to take my characters to the next level and kind of bring a series of books to them. And so I often, like, my nieces basically kind of gave me a very nice basis to think of new adventures for these explorers that I've been kind of working with since high school. I doodled them on my binder.
Mm-hmm.
Basically just kind of figure out what their story is. So I did come up with a little mock book, and I did, send it to some publishers, and they weren't digging it too much, but it's just the beginning. And, whether or not it gets someone else's approval, it's still going to be something that comes out and something that happens. And that's the control that you have as a entrepreneur and as an artist and as a whatever, a person who creates, is that there's just time. You can't ask people for when's the time to do it. You just got to do it. So
Yeah.
it's in progress. Still in progress.
Yeah, it's one of those things like that sometimes you have these projects and these creative ideas that you're tweaking on it, and there's just a kernel of it that you have to hang on to, and
Yeah.
there's something about it that's going to take off, and it's just a matter of working on it little by little and just letting it sort of naturally, organically grow.
Yes.
And I think, speaking of growing and things changing, since you're so embedded in the food and the art space, I'm sure you've spent a considerable amount of time thinking about how the coronavirus and the lockdown, how all of this is going to affect the restaurant and the food industry as a whole. I know that there are already restaurants who have shut down, and some that are, on the brink of doing so. What do you anticipate will happen? What aspects of our food and restaurant culture do you think will have to change? And what new trends do you think will arrive and replace?
That's I'm going to be honest, to answer that question, I'm a little afraid. And the reason why really is because everyone's got an answer. And it's one of those things that, will whatever I say matter? And what I believe personally is that there is a way. There is a way. It's just a matter of measuring what's important. And
Hmm.
so the restaurant industry was already in question of trying to value their people
Yep.
and how, their hours. Are you caring about their mental health, especially? Are you caring
Hmm.
about their hours or their body and their health? And a lot of them weren't caring about them. A lot of
Hmm.
it was about how much money you rake in a day.
Hmm.
But what I'm saying now is that we've been given this, for lack of a better word, an opportunity to really, really take a look at it, say what's needed. And for bigger people who frankly have the money and the resources, more so than a much smaller business, kind of, it's on you a little bit to kind of say what's right and what could happen.
Hmm.
And therefore it's on you to kind of be proactive. Sure, it's not completely up to you as an individual, but as a conglomerate, and if it is indeed a industry that completely preaches about community being at its base,
Hmm.
then that is what we need to do. Just put your money where your mouth is and take care of people, because we're not they're not taking care of people. And if we just keep saying, oh, well, that's just the way it is,
Hmm.
to who does it have to be at that for? It's just one of those things where you're going to have to start thinking about who really matters and what doesn't matter.
Hmm.
And I'm sure there are people who are shitting their pants over, will we reopen? Will it be the same? I can honestly say for a lot of people, it might be the same for you. It will bounce back after time. For some people, they're done.
Yeah.
And you have to remember that. I was like, you got to survive. You get to bounce back. Some people don't get that. And that's something that, again, people are going to have to consider. But again, getting lost in the storm of whatever's going on and how to do that is something that no one was prepared for, I'm sure. This whole situation should show how nothing was. I mean, there's insurance companies that don't even have policies about epidemics, pandemics, how to
Mm-mm.
take care of this. How in the world are we going to bounce back? It's like, if you don't know, say you don't know. Admit that could be the first thing you admit. And it's something that is the hardest thing to say sometimes, but it's also going to be a way for you to kind of get the help that you need and the help that you need as a leader to distribute. So, that's my answer to that. I think they can bounce back. I think they're just going to have to really re-strategize how to do that.
Yeah, I was reading this article that was talking about how um, most likely the only businesses that are going to be able to afford to bounce back are these huge chains that have the money to leave their sort of essential operations still going or to automate certain processes. But by and large, the industry has always had just a horrible reputation in terms of taking care of their employees. I mean, you're talking about certain states having tip wages and there's just rampant employee abuse, and like you said, I hope that more of these companies take this as an opportunity to reassess what is important, and that it isn't about the money, but there also are these opportunities to um, you know have these restaurants for the benefit of spreading culture and helping out within the communities. But I think like you, I'm worried that a lot of this won't bounce back for a while. Um,
What I could add to that though, I'm sorry, did I?
no, no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead,
What I was like, it sounded like you were finishing a thought, and
go ahead.
I just got one too. But what I was going to say is that it's not just on restaurateurs. It's not just on their team. It's not just that. this is a commentary I could make towards basically how social media has basically made the food culture into the monster that it's become almost in a way, and like, going into that trap, and the people who exalt themselves for being Yelp elite or whatever it is that, has been created to make you feel like you have a superiority over people in regards to food. This is the time for you as people, whoever you are, to come to really just come out for your restaurants that you so advocate for and say, oh, I'm helping them.
Mm-hmm.
Now is the time to actually do it and help them. It's just basically saying, not taking pictures of their food, your free food that you got, and putting it online.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
got to show up for them, dig into your pocket, and basically support them
Yeah.
and support their people. Be a continuous supporter rather than somebody who's there in rain or shine. And that's basically that's what they need. And to not just glorify yourself as somebody who puts pretty pictures on the internet and you're so cool for it, F that. If, as we can see, Instagram changed into this, because you haven't been able to go to a restaurant, what have you been able to do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of like, they really need your help now. They really need you to do exactly what it is you say that you were doing this whole time. So reach into that pocket and give them what they need and not something they want. It's just a matter of people stepping up. That's pretty much it.
I love that. I appreciate this conversation and you sort of really advocating for looking at this in a new perspective and making sure that we're not using this as an opportunity to sort of do a PR piece and make ourselves look like the heroes, but to actually look at the people who are suffering and the people who actually need that help. I thoroughly enjoyed having you on. I would love to have you back, but I do have one last question. What are you working on and where can we find you?
Well, you can find me. Where can you find me? You can find me in this apartment every day. You can find me at createandplate.com, at Caro Choe on Facebook and on Instagram, and at Create and Plate, and at Exploratorians. Those are those little guys over there. These little dudes.
Awesome.
Or actually, no, I've got a closer look. This is my business card.
Cute.
Thank you. Yeah, what am I working on right now? If, for lack of better words, just trying to get through the days and using every bit of art therapy to get there, art, music therapy, dance therapy, just creating something with my hands, making food that obviously is only most of it is going to only my husband right now, or to my parents, but just doing what you can with what you can create so that you can bring a smile to somebody else, or you can help fulfill somebody else's need. And if that's within hunger or within their heart, that's what we all have to do for each other now. It really is a we operation. So that's what I'm trying to do, is trying to create something and make it into, how can I put this into a we operation? It's really what I'm trying to do now. And I miss my students, and I will see them soon. And I miss my food media family, my food family, my artist community, I see you guys and what you're doing, even in your own homes. So yeah, it's just going to be a way. And I see what you're doing right here. So
Thank you.
You keep doing what you're doing, because again, you're needed and you're valued. At least over here you are, and by the other guy in the other room. So So again, I just say that's what I'm working on, and that's what hopefully will thrive as time goes on. So,
well, Carolyn, thank you so much again. I think that you've given us a lot to think about, a lot of wisdom and a lot of encouragement. Hopefully when all of this is better, hopefully when the book is out, we'll have you back on to do us a little demo and give us an update.
Thank you so much. This was awesome to talk to you and to finally meet you, actually.
I know, right?
All right. Keep up everything. All right.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye.